name is Nadia and welcome to my channel. I'm a self-employed artist and I have been making YouTube videos since 2023. I started by posting speed paints of my artwork and then slowly adding voiceovers
of like other better,
and then eventually having the courage to show my face in my videos.
This when I was 8 years old. Look at this.
I think that took me about like 5 months to start warming up, getting in front of the camera. And trust me, for the first few months in front of the camera, I was not comfortable at all. But the more I did, it felt like I was just talking to my friends. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how I navigate my ongoing vlogging journey, little tips and tricks, and all the information that I wish I had when I was just starting out. Scripting. All right, first things first, you need an idea. As an artist, I like to make videos relating to making art or anything that I can express my creativity in. Typically, I jot down a rough outline of what I want to achieve in the video. Topics that don't usually require a very strict long dialogue, such as day in the life videos, a week in my life videos, sketchbook tours, lookbooks. I like the idea of it being more authentic and I want it to be able to capture like my real artist life. However, if I do have a script that I follow, it's usually in the drawing segment of the video. My fave go-to voiceover topics are stories, rants, or tips, or just talking about whatever I'm drawing at the moment in the video. There's never a video where I am mostly spontaneous. I think that's quite literally impossible for me. I'm a planner. I usually have a plan of what I want to say or do. Even in sketchbook tours, I would usually go over the drawings that I did and then I would think about what to say. I won't necessarily write down a long script of it, but yeah, just like plan it in your head beforehand. That's why I think having a script or a plan is so important, so you don't sit there thinking about what the next move is. However, when it comes to writing how-to videos, it's so much more detailed and informative, and I try my best to be as accurate as possible with my facts. So I always start with the subjects that I want to discuss about, and then below each subject, write down a list of things that I want to touch on. And then I eventually start writing the script. I also use Notion for my scripts, but honestly, any Word document will just do the job fine. For my videos, I usually use the Sony ZV-E10 vlogging camera. The thing about it though is that it can be quite bulky. If I had the opportunity to repick my camera, I think I would go for the DJI Osmo Pocket, but I cannot be disloyal to my Sony. She's my day one. And these options are quite pricey, especially for someone who's just starting out. And no, don't worry, you absolutely do not need a new camera at all. In fact, you already have what you need. And this is where your phone comes in so handy. The model I use for my phone is the iPhone 17. And because I only have 256 gigabytes on here, which honestly runs out so fast when you're constantly filming, I also upload my footage onto the cloud and my hard drive. Next thing you need are tripods. First is the taller tripod that I have. The legs are able to extend taller than me. Very useful for overhead footage or stand-ups. Next is the flexible tripod. This is more for close-ups and odd angles. You can put this on like a vehicle or like on the wall because of its bendy legs. Yeah, and it's also just really fun to play with. But some days I just cannot bring myself to carry these big tripods with me. So last but not least, a small but handy tripod. The Trackable Tripod Wallet by Muff literally has changed the game for all creators, making it so accessible and easy for both beginners and professionals alike. Especially for an introverted artist like me, I hate the idea of looking like a freaking poser in public with my big girl camera out and having to carry the extra gear like my back isn't broken already. And to add to that, it's already hard enough to film a POV shot of me drawing, but with the itty bitty muff tripod stand propping up my phone with little to no obstruction, and it saves me so much time compared to setting up the tripod, say less. It's also great for taking these spontaneous moments without having to find something or someone to prop up your phone. And when you're out and about, it securely holds 2 essential cards and even integrates Apple Find My, which really brings me a peace of mind wherever I go. Inspired by origami, there's many ways that you can use the tripod as well. There is stand mode, which is what I would usually use when I'm in a video call. You could also rotate the tripod to a 90-degree angle, also known as vlogging mode, where I can easily just press the Bluetooth shutter with one hand. Finally, floating mode, for taking videos, watching videos, or looking at references. I'm just a big fan of how compact it unfolds and just has so many functions in one little piece. This handy little tool has made my life so much easier, and I just wish I had it in my early days of video making. And if you also want to start filming or upgrade your film setup, this is a game changer, I promise you. So make sure to check out my description for a special discount. Thank you, Moft, for sponsoring this video. Now, for filming part. I'm not the best at camera settings, I'm gonna be really honest with you. So I have it all in default. I just cannot be bothered, y'all. I think it looks good as is. As for my iPhone 17, I have my camera set to 1080p at 30 FPS. I also have the grids on my camera, so it helps me with setting up the compositions for my shots. There are several ways to make a shot look good. First and foremost, you need good lighting. And you can achieve this just by having daylight. However, living in Vancouver has its gloomy days, and I'm not really a big fan of overhead lighting, so I would use accent lighting, such as my ring light and lamps. As an artist, I feel like the big desk lamps or ring lights are so useful, especially when you're drawing in the middle of the night, because that happens so much. I feel like my inspiration comes usually at night as well. So definitely invest in that if you haven't already. Second, make sure the audience knows what they're looking at. Clarity in your shots is so important, and having grids on your camera definitely helps with pinpointing where you want your subjects to be. When you are filming a talking head, such as right now, make sure the head is in the center or one of the sides or the lines of the rule of thirds if you have graphics to show. When I started out, I used to have the top of my head cut off. Most of the video would look like this. Like, why did I do that? And to spice up your shots, include some interesting angles such as low angle, high angle, POV shot, wide shot, mid shot, back shot, close-up shot. And there's so much more angles and inspiration where you can find from other people. And also, it's important to have more footage than not having enough. I find it much more interesting when people add B-roll to their speech. For example, I went to the beach and I had an ice cream. You see what I did? That's B-roll. It's like adding gravy to your mash. It's a must. Not only it is visually appealing, I also find that it comes in very handy, especially when there's a scene where I need a transition or a talking head segment where I looked weird or the camera blurred. The easiest fix is just slapping a B-roll over it. When I started filming in public, I get really scared because I thought people would know that I was filming for a YouTube video, and then they would find me and then see how bad I was in front of the camera. Like, who do I think I am? I'm not a YouTuber. But really, the more I think about it, it's all just in our head. Because why is it that when I see another person filming themselves in public, the first thought that comes into my head is, ooh, an influencer. It's all from positive vibes. And also, when you really think about it, when was the last time you saw someone filming themselves in public and thought it was embarrassing? I can't think of any. I genuinely feel as long as you are not disrespectful towards anyone or any place or breaking any rules, just get that shot, girl. And to start getting comfortable filming yourself in public, I would definitely suggest starting out at a place where it isn't too crowded. That way you can have yourself get used to taking up space. Start by filming yourself with your phone in silence. Do different angles, different shots, play, experiment, and then afterwards, when you feel brave enough, start talking to the camera. There's a trick that I do is that I would pretend that I'm talking to a friend. And another thing that I do is that I would put like a cute little sticker right in front of my camera. Many ways to do it. There's many ways to get around it. But I promise you, with practice, you will get used to it. Okay, this part is the most painful part. The software I use for editing is Wondershare Filmora. Filmora was affordable when I got it, and when I started out, I wanted something very user-friendly, and that was what was for me. However, I did run into some bugs. That's why I don't really recommend it. Also, they heavily advertise AI. Not a big fan of that. So here are some free options out there that I have for you. I don't personally use though. CapCut and DaVinci Resolve, which a lot of new creators and professional creators do use. My order of business is usually rough cuts, music, transitions and voiceovers kind of go together, and then last but not least, graphics. For my rough cuts, I remove bad takes, silent parts, or when my speech gets redundant, or when a joke doesn't fly the way I wanted it to. And as for music, I try to find whatever suits the mood at the moment. For drawing, I tend to lean towards calm, happy music, or anything with like a chill beat. I also like to use fun beats for a faster pace. That helps with showing quick cuts for maybe like an intro. When there's a rant or like something emotionally charged, I would use classical music. For anything mellow or talking about a sensitive subject for me, I would use sadder, mellow music. I find my audios on YouTube Studio as well as Thematic, and both are very free to use unless it's stated otherwise. My go-to transitions are either utilizing audio or music, or using animations, or both. One of my favorite ways is using the swipe right transition and then adding the paper flipping sound effect. Personally for me, I think it's perfect because I'm an artist and then I use a sketchbook and then paper is just what we use, right? There's also another transition method that I use quite often where I put a clip of me having a dialogue under the current main clip and then having it cut or transition to the talking clip. Me talking about it doesn't really help, but I hope it shows. And here's another example. When I'm talking about a certain subject, let's say, my microphone, I would use a B-roll of said microphone and then have that B-roll become an A-roll. Like right now. This is what I use for my voiceovers. This is the Maono DGM20, and I love this little beauty. It has paint splatters on it, as you can see. That's how much I love it. I hook this up to my laptop when I'm editing. However, you don't really need it if you have your phone. You can just simply record it on your phone and export it to your laptop or wherever you're editing. And for my voiceovers, I usually talk about the topic of the video. And if not, I would talk about my stories, rants, ideas, tips or tricks, and the art I'm showcasing. Finally, for my graphics, I like to add animated texts because it's fun and funky. I usually like to do these for my titles or any like scene switches, and it is very, very easy to do. Use a drawing software, or you can go online, find like a free one, and you basically just handwrite the phrase or word that you want, and then you open up a new layer and then trace over the same thing. Before you export it, make sure the background is removed, and once you're done, export both layers separately. I usually place both images less than a second after each other, and then you just repeat it, and voila, you're done. First animation complete. And if you're feeling lazy to do 2 layers, you can do just 1 animation and then make it like rotate a little bit, you know? I think the scariest thing about making vlogs is starting. In my very first videos, I used to not have a script at all, and all my videos would just be like 6 minutes long or like under 5 minutes. Not only I didn't have much to say, I also did not know what to do because not only it saves so much time, but you also get to share more of yourself. Another thing is to make as many mistakes as you can, especially when you don't have a contract you signed to or a deadline that you have to reach. I also believe having an easier setup makes you so much more productive. I realize when I have my camera propped up on my tripod already without having to set it up, I would be more prone to making or filming a video. Whenever I just have an idea or a script that I want to write, I would just write it down. And now that I have my handy little tripod right here, use my code for a discount, y'all. Make that video today. Yes, I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have any questions or tips yourself, do share in the comments below. I also have an Instagram account where I am so much more active and annoying. I also have a mail club where I send out cute stickers, goodies, and intimate letters every month. So go check it out on my Ko-fi page. I pour my heart out into it. It is my literal baby. I birthed it. Everything is made from my studio, aka my bedroom. Finally, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have the loveliest day, and I wish you the best of luck having so much fun making your next video. Bye!